We're here with Karl Perazzo, longtime percussion player with the Carlos Santana band, and a longtime friend of mine. And we go back to the beginnings of Pacific Mambo Orchestra, more or less.
Oh yeah,
And
maybe a little before that.
A little before that. And I wanted to ask you, because I remember you bringing your dad to the gigs,
Yes.
and it was always like such a beautiful thing to see you and your dad, and he's just sitting there and enjoying the music. So I was wondering if you grew up in a musical family. I know you're I know Armando Cordova, I know Jeff. They're
Yeah.
all great musicians. You're all connected by blood, So I was wondering if that came through your dad's side or your mom's side. Did you grow up in a musical family?
I grew up in a musical family. My dad was a drummer. My mother was a singer, guitar player, and even my cousins, my sister, my brother Gibby.
Gibby's your brother.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
So,
right.
yeah, the Cordovas and all, and that whole side of the family, they're all great musicians, and you to be who you are, you definitely need a family tree like that,
I believe so.
It was a serious village.
So you grew up as a kid, as a child, banging on some
Pots and
congas
pans
pots
and
pans all
tables
that.
and mostly listening and just growing and manifesting who I really wanted to be in my life.
When did you make that decision to turn pro? Was it like a gradual, organic thing you grew into the Mission San Francisco scene, or was it like? Do you remember like a day where you were like, man, I want to go full in all the way?
That's an interesting frame. I didn't know what pro was. I didn't know what that was. I was only following my passion, my dreams, and it was my dad where I got a gig and I said, hey Dad, I got a gig, I'm making $15, and he used to say,
not bad.
he used to say, if you make $1, you're a pro.
Wow.
And you need to take that serious. And so that's where the word pro comes in. But I've always been following my passion and my dreams.
Yeah. And have you ever held another job?
I had one job, yeah. My first job, my dad taught me how to shoe shine so I could buy my own instruments. That was my first job.
Shoe shine.
But that job, it had like a goal, right? That was to me buying instruments, right?
Yeah.
And so once I started gigging in the clubs, 12, 13, then I used that money to buy the rest of my instruments. But there was one part of my life where I said, it was kind of crazy after the Purple Rain tour, and
with Prince.
Yeah, I was Sheila E's drummer, and after that we went and did some stuff, maybe another year after that, and spot dates here and there, and maybe some little tours. But after that, I just wanted to, I missed a lot, and so I got a job delivering auto parts, Good friend of mine, we became friends. We're still friends. He gave me the job just out of, he goes, there's something about you, man. I don't know, my good friend Gary Tolles, and we're still in contact because I owe him a lot,
Yeah, that's beautiful, man.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Talking about, working to buy your instruments, I had paper route.
Exactly.
When I was 14, my first job was delivering papers, and I was playing bass at that time. I was playing in a rock band back in Germany, and so I delivered newspaper until I bought myself an Ibanez bass and a PV amp.
Yeah, man, that's
Played
the way to go.
with a rock band. We had gigs, man. I was singing. Thank God it was prior to YouTube, man. There's no trace of anything. Thank God.
Yeah, I see that too. Yeah.
Anyway, so a couple more questions, if you don't mind. You've been one of the most successful musicians that I know, maybe the most successful musician. You have 14 Grammys, 15. You lost track.
Yeah, somewhere around that.
Somewhere around
14,
there. Won with
11 trophies.
11 trophies at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the medal, man.
Yeah.
So you toured around the world 20 times, more than that.
More than that, yeah.
More than that. And you've been with Santana for 30 years?
32 years. 33 years now, maybe, this year.
Yeah. So is there any, I mean, you played all the arenas, you played all the festivals, you know, headlining everything. Is there one concert that you remember that kind of stuck out or sticks out that you have memorized? It's like, oh my God, that was the absolute, like a Woodstock kind of thing, you know? Was
Yeah,
that,
Woodstock is one of them in '94. Hyde Park with Eric Clapton.
Yeah. What made it
that's
special?
Santana.
Why do these concerts stick out to you?
Well, there's a certain kind of energy,
Mm-hmm.
and energy you have to harness with your synergy,
Mm-hmm.
right? So even in Chile, you know, it was well over 100,000 people there, or playing Azteca Stadium with Maná, or there's a certain feeling that resonates through your body that makes it memorable, and you get to a point to where and you know we had a Packbell Park. We had a big concert in, and what happens is that you could play 90 minutes and it feels like 10 or 15 minutes. It just flies.
You're inside of it.
Yeah. And you know, I call it being in the zone.
Yeah.
You know,
I know exactly what you mean.
But it takes everybody.
And it doesn't happen all the time. Those are special moments. You know, when the energy flow is complete, when the circle is complete and everybody is in it, that's when this shit happens, man.
I talk about special moments when there's really no words to put in front of it.
Mm-hmm.
Every concert for me is a special moment, especially playing with Carlos. I manifested my childhood dream, and every time I look down, I see him. I'm still a fan, right? I'm still a fan of the music, even when I play with Pacific Mambo, or, you know, it just reminds me of, you know, sitting in with Puente, or, you know, and hearing Machito and hearing those bands that really made me who I am today.
Yeah.
You know, and just to be a part of every little thing is always special.
Yeah.
But the things that stick out, like you say, are the things that don't have the words. All of a sudden, it starts and it's over.
Yeah.
All you take home is like an energy, like you could go for 2 days on that.
Yeah. You know what, man? I mean, just recently, as of maybe this year, you know, I've connected with music on a different level, and I find way more spirituality in music than I have, or I connect on a deeper spiritual level. Do you feel like that is what happens? That the ego kind of falls away, and all there is well, love. Eventually, you know, it boils down to the energy of love for each other and for the music that we're projecting. Don't you agree with that? That the spiritual aspect of music is it?
It was the reverse for me.
Huh.
Since starting at 2 years old,
Mm-hmm.
it was everything that I wanted to be and do, right? So, spiritually speaking, on a spiritual level, I would practice for 8 hours. That would be no sweating, no drinking, no eating, no nothing. You get to this place where you are now only communicating with sound, resonance, and vibration, right? Which has a certain kind of thing to make you levitate on a spiritual level, right? To where you could start seeing beyond the music and beyond the notes and what you're playing. You could step out of yourself and look at yourself, what you're doing. And so that's how it started for me as a young boy. And then what happens is the older I get, you know, it's like, oh my God, the cell phone, I get to travel here and you got to go here, and there's a lot of blockage, right?
Yeah.
But for 90 minutes a day,
That's gone.
it's totally gone. And you have to, the whole trick is submitting to the music and becoming your true self. You become a conduit of divine. It's no longer about you. It's what you can do to help that vibration sustain, right? It's entirely up to you. You can almost overplay a situation and it will start to wobble.
Mm-hmm.
And people will feel it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of listeners
Mm-hmm.
that go for this same reason. They also, if you ask anybody and you hear they're saying, hey, you know who I seen last night? I seen Santana. And I go, no, you didn't see us. You felt us.
Yeah.
But they always go in with their eyes.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a visual society.
But they leave for the next 2 months, sometimes years. We even go back to the Grammys. 3 years later, they're still talking about the Supernatural show. Because that's what we left. This is the place you got to get to.
Yeah. Every night.
Every night, consistently.
And that's what sets Carlos apart from many or all
That's
the other
what sets us all apart.
That's what sets you apart, because you bring it every night.
I mean, the music that you bring has its own resonance. It comes from you. It was born from you. And we have to facilitate your dreams and aspirations.
Mm-hmm.
And you got a vision
Which
on
you
who's
just
going to
did,
play.
by the way, on my tune.
It's not mine to keep.
No, but you gave it.
Well,
You gave it to me.
brought it out of me.
And you gave it.
Well, that's how it works.
That's how it works.
Right.
And I'm grateful for it.
So you just keep doing what you're doing. Your tone resonates with people, and your music speaks volumes.
Let's leave it at that.
Right on, brother.
Love you.
Love you, bro.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Ooh! Ooh!
Just so you have a marker.
Good stuff. Yeah.
Did you record that?